In this video, I'm going to teach you the best way to manage your Performance Max bid strategy in Google Ads that gives you the highest chance of growing profitably. What I will show you is the exact same Performance Max bid strategy that we use at my agency Big Flare that handles literally millions of dollars in ad spend on PMax specifically. I'll guide you through the 3 different stages of your Performance Max campaign: the launch, testing, and scaling phases. And I'll teach you exactly which bid strategy and target to use during each of those 3 stages. Follow this formula and I guarantee that you'll give yourself the best possible chance at growing your ad campaign quickly and profitably in Performance Max. Let's dive in. First up, let's discuss the best Performance Max bid strategy to use during the launch phase of your campaign. Now, when I say launch phase, I am referring to that bit where you first launch plus the first 1 or 2 weeks after launch. At this stage, there are 2 separate approaches based on whether you have a totally fresh Google Ads account or whether you have an established Google Ads account with plenty of conversion history. First up, let's look at the situation where you are at launch phase for your Performance Max campaign and you have a pretty fresh Google Ads account, meaning there are 0 or very few conversions tracked so far in that account. Alright, so there's one other thing we have to factor in here, and that is whether you have a single product or price point, or whether you have multiple products or price points. Let's look at the single product or price point situation first. If you do have just the one product or price point, then I would use maximize conversions with no target CPA. Here's how it looks in the campaign settings in Google Ads, right here where it asks you what to focus on. You want to say conversions, and here where there's an option to set a target CPA, you want to leave this box unticked. That's what you do if you have just the one product or price point. And also, if you are doing lead gen, then most of the times you are going to want to take that same approach of using maximize conversions with no target CPA. But what if you have multiple products or price points? Well, in this case, optimizing for conversions won't capture the fact that your products have different prices and are worth different amounts to you. So for this case then, it's a simple change. In this case, we want to use maximize conversion value and we don't set a target return on ad spend. Once again, leave this target section blank. As we are still in the launch phase here, filling in this blank will come later on. So now we've covered what to do if you have a fresh Google Ads account with 0 or not many conversions in it. But what do we do differently if we are in an established Google Ads account which has loads of historical conversion data, meaning we've got hundreds or thousands of conversions in the account? Well, in this case, you can actually just go straight to adding a target CPA or a target ROAS. That's because Google already has conversion rate and value per conversion data at the account level that it can use to start making some predictions off of. So, if you have a single product or price point, you are going to select maximize conversions once again, but the difference is that in this case, you can actually go straight to adding that target CPA. The one caveat here is that I would advise making the target a little bit easier to hit than your true target. So if your true target CPA is say $50, maybe start out with a easy $100 target first of all, just to make sure that the system can actually spend and test. In the case where you have multiple products or price points, much like with the fresh account situation, you once again want to select to maximize conversion value. But if you already have an established account with plenty of conversion data, then what you can do here is actually add that target return on ad spend that we avoided in the fresh account situation. Again, like with the single product and price point situation, we want to make the target a little bit easy. In the case of a ROAS target, this means we want to set a lower target ROAS initially than our true target ROAS. So let's say we are aiming to get to 400% return on ad spend. Well, I might start out my new Performance Max campaign in my established Google Ads account at a ROAS of 200%. Now we can move into our Performance Max bid strategy for the testing phase. Testing phase, I would say, lasts for around 1 to 2 months or for 50 to 100 conversions. Whichever of these 2 things happens soonest. Testing phase is that time after your launch phase, but before you have established your profitable return on ad spend target or CPA target. During this time, the whole goal is to be testing the waters to see if you can hit your ROAS or CPA target, hence why I call it testing phase. During testing phase, if you are in a fresh account with a single product or price, what you want to do is leave the campaign spending and collecting conversions whilst occasionally adjusting daily budget up or down if required to control the CPA and rate of spend. What I mean is that when you are not using a target CPA, you can actually still control your CPA. You do this by adjusting your daily budget. Increasing your daily budget will tell the system to bid higher to spend more, thus increasing your CPA. Decreasing your daily budget will tell the system to bid lower to reduce spend, thus reducing your CPA. So during this time, you just want the account to continue spending, but do pay attention to the CPA, and if it's way too high after the first 10 plus conversions, then you can reduce the daily budget a bit to reduce CPA. At the same time, if your CPA actually starts out way lower than target, then great. What you can do now is increase your daily budget. This will allow your CPA to go up and will make you spend more and get through the testing phase much faster. Eventually, as you come towards the end of testing phase, now is the time where you can implement your target CPA. You should have been controlling your daily budget so that towards the end of your testing phase, the campaign's true CPA is quite close to your target CPA. And then, when you set your target CPA in your campaign settings, you can just go straight to the target CPA you want to hit. You input the target CPA in the last couple of weeks of the testing phase. Over that last portion of the testing phase, you want to wait for the results to stabilize. The campaign should be fairly stable at your target CPA by the end of testing phase and before you move into the next phase, the scaling phase. It's a similar approach if you are in a fresh account with multiple products and prices, but instead of thinking about CPA here, we should be monitoring and thinking about ROAS. So you want to let the campaign run and collect enough conversions to get through testing phase, and you want to monitor your return on ad spend and adjust the daily budgets up or down to control it. If your ROAS is getting way too low, then your campaign is running very unprofitably and you want to decrease your daily budget. On the other hand, if your ROAS is really high, then yay, great, you can actually increase your daily budget. This, once again, makes the system spend more, it makes your ROAS come down a little bit, but you'll still be profitable and the system's going to spend more and get you through testing phase just that little bit faster, so you can move into the fun part, the scaling phase, even faster. Towards the end of testing phase, you want to implement your target ROAS. Then, over the last couple of weeks of testing phase, you want to let that target ROAS get nice and stable before you move into scaling phase. Now let's have a look at our bid strategy for established accounts in the testing phase. If this is you and you have a single product or price point, then at this stage you are already on a target CPA, however the target CPA is higher than you want it to be in order to make sure that the system still spends. So, what you do here is slowly decrease your CPA target in the campaign settings until you get it to the target that you want it to hit. Maybe the target you want to hit was $50 and you started off with a $100 target CPA in the campaign settings. So over the course of the testing phase, you might decrease that $100 target CPA setting down to $85, then $65, then finally down to the $50 CPA that you want. Once you have got the target CPA setting down to where you want to give it a bit of time to stabilize and make sure the campaign is actually delivering the CPA you want relatively consistently. If you have an established account and you have multiple products or prices, then at this point you would be on maximize conversion value with a target ROAS in place, but your target ROAS was the easy version that is lower than the true ROAS you want to hit. So similar process here, slowly increase your target ROAS in the campaign settings until you get it up to the true return on ad spend target you are trying to hit. Maybe your true ROAS target is 400% and maybe you started out with an easy target of 200%. So maybe over the testing phase you go from 200% to 280%, then to 360% and then finally to 400%. Something like that. The numbers for you will vary, but that's the general idea. When you have hit the target ROAS that you are wanting to get to, let the thing stabilize over the last portion of the testing phase. Give it a bit of time to ensure it's stably hitting your target before progressing to the scaling phase. By the way, if you'd like to get the kind of results that my team and I got for this client, or for this client, then click the link in the description below this video. You'll come to this page where you can book in your free 30-minute strategy session with either myself or with Lee, my team director. During the call, we'll get to meet and discuss your business and your challenges around paid ads right now. If we think there's a good fit, we'll present to you a solution and options around it. Alright, back to our main content for today. Now we move into the fun part, the scaling phase. It really varies based on the account, but scaling phase might last 1 to 3+ months before you start to see the spend plateau. During the scaling phase, things get a bit simpler. Regardless of which situation you started from, where you are now at by the end of testing phase is you are stable and hitting your performance target, whether that's a ROAS target or a CPA target. So the step here in scaling phase is the same step for all situations. You scale your daily budgets and you can do that quite aggressively. When I say aggressive, what I mean is that at this stage, because you are stable at your ROAS or CPA target, you can absolutely get away with pretty much any size of budget increase you want. Budget is no longer your limiting factor, your CPA or ROAS target is. So you can actually do a 500% increase in budget if you want to. The system might not actually spend 500% more, but it would quickly increase spend to whatever is its maximum point given the target CPA or ROAS you want it to hit. Now, you could do budget increases in the leagues of 500% plus if you want to, but I would say if you are not an experienced media buyer, then maybe stick to between 50 to 100% increases in daily budgets with at least 2 to 4 weeks between each increase. That is still plenty aggressive and will still get you to a maxed out campaign relatively quickly. At this point, you should have a fairly scaled out Performance Max campaign, having managed your budgets and bid strategy effectively. Well done. Now, there is a phase after the scaling phase that can last indefinitely, and that is the phase where you do quarterly target testing to ascertain your profit maximizing return on ad spend or cost per acquisition. But that is kind of beyond the scope of this video. If you would like me to do a separate video on quarterly target testing for profit maximization, let me know in the comments below. Now, of course, bid strategy is not the only part of getting your Performance Max campaign to maximum profit. There's a bunch of other optimizations you should do too. So check out this video up here and see 10 other critical Performance Max optimizations that no one else told you. It's part 1 of a 2-part video series and updated for 2024, so please do enjoy.